getting in here. My gosh, this is becoming ever more complex. Uh, yeah, publish. Do the channel. Okay, nice. Here we are. So, anyways, I hope that everyone is having a great start of day. As I am, it's morning. Can't change that. That's not what I was trying to do. Now I can hang out. Oh my gosh. Um, I'm assuming eventually I won't have to always go live. I know it's a bit dark. Let me be generous. Oh, there we go. There we go. We got some light. All right. Do I need this? I mean, it could do no harm. No harm, no foul. Okay, everything is on. Make sure everything is really on. Perfect. Everything is present. Counted for. Actually, now it's really on. All right. I'm on. I'm here. Oops. Okay. Well, I guess it's on nonetheless. It's on. I'm not gonna let it bother. I know it's on. Hold on. I need to. I have a really good looking mic, so 1 second. Let me move some things around. So, okay. Oops. I need you. Yeah, something like that. Oh, much better. Now I can enjoy my mic. I have to enjoy the mic too. I need to be able to access everything. Hello. Welcome. Turkey from Turkey. It's Turkey, excuse me. Welcome. How are you all? Oh, so even you are a little bit like a little out there. Laura, you have to, actually be social. Don't be antisocial. Uh, no offense to gay people. I mean, but don't be antisocial or lesbian. Um, yeah, Turkey, welcome. So, you know, you had to go find at least go try to find a mate because I'm not it. Yeah. So I really don't want any innuendos hanging out. Sorry. I gotta uh, remove that. I don't want, you need to go find a, you gotta go find something to grip. I think you've been inside way too long. You need to go outside a bit. You're still welcome. You can still chat and come in. I just, I'm not attracted. I don't want anything like antisocial people. Like that's their way. I'm like, I don't like to do it like the insects. You got come in, be social, be cool. Insects, mm-mm, no. Okay, so uh, oh yeah, if you have the Sodom Gomorrah spirit, and I'm not talking about LGBTQI, I'm not talking about myself or anyone else, any hotties. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the jealous spirit of some like jealous of angels, jealous of angelic gifts. Yeah, don't stop being so envious. It we're starting to see you, by the way. Just saying. We're starting to see, we're starting to see your stripes. You're starting to earn your stripes, your green ones. Green stripes. You're starting to earn them. We're starting to see them. I just want to point that out to you as well. So if you have the Sodom and Gomorrah jealous, got to include jealous so we don't think LGBTQI, myself, or anyone. The spirit of jealousy of the two angels because they're good looking and they're talented, they're gifted, they are special individually to themselves, unique to themselves, and they are strong, they're their own person, their own personalities. Okay, we are talking to you. Could you please this time in it's the 20th century, just kind of like, be cool. There you go. Hmm. Hmm. So, anyway, back to some other interesting ideas. Oh, and I'm still a blonde. Oh, yeah. Now I can go. Yeah, I'm still blonde. Yeah, I still have fun. I still have all the good times. So, yeah. Now I can go like this. Now that we got that out of the way. Oh gosh. Hmm. So what's going on, Turkey, in your neighborhood? So yeah, I'm back at it, working, getting my giftings in alignment. It's early where I'm at. It's 7 o'clock a.m., but Uh, for most of the week, I've been getting on here in the early in the morning at 7, and I'm actually uh, working with people from all over the globe. So I embrace everybody. So I do, you know, at least I accept all my clients from every place. I just have this interesting ability to understand people. So yeah, so that's why immediately, I saw your flag, Turkey, acknowledged you. Awesome. That's so cool. Uh, even that you're even, I know that Muslims are very interested. I have some really great from the UAE uh, clients, both men and women. Um, yeah, they are just as plentiful and bountiful as my Western world clients. So, yeah, they're doing amazing. In my humble opinion, you all are doing fantastic. The big topic is Dubai. Uh, I know Turkey is pretty big one out there as well. We keeping an eye on you all. So we're not gonna pick on you. We're gonna leave Turkey alone. They're just they're just a little closer into the fray of things. Yeah, they kind of like navigate, keep out of stuff. But you like let people know, like, hey, we Muslim, we are Muslim, but no, don't forget, like we hear you loud and clear, and that's it's amazing. So, yeah. Anyway, I do, psychically, I mean, check in on you. I have one, as far as I know, I have one client. Well, I have clients, of course, that who go throughout Turkey, but actually who live in Turkey. There's a gentleman and a lady of mine, and they're set to marry, and it's also going to be an it's not only an interracial relationship, but also it's an I guess, interfaith, or different. That's what we used to call if you had different religions. But interfaith marriage, meaning, or like, well, obviously the cultures are different because Western culture versus his culture. Also, he's a police officer as well, and he runs like multiple, like at least three businesses off the top of my head, but even more. And he all he does is work for the community. Even his businesses are for community, family, but he's like himself, to my understanding, and everything he gives his everything to family and community, and then it's just left with himself. On the other hand, he's met a wonderful woman who's going to come in and enrich his life. She says, well, that's going to be her job. They're going to find something where they can enrich their lives together. And she has to convince him how to take a break from things. You know how men are. Like, men will, you know, they'll work themselves to heart problems. So, way in their later laterally in their age, and they still won't slow down, even when the doctors are like, slow down, please, people need you, they're begging you, and the wife is like, yeah, I've been trying to find, say it in a kind, respectful way, but gosh, man, you're not listening. Or husband, you're not listening, rather. But yeah, but anyway, he seems to be the type that comes in. He doesn't change too much, but she will convince him to, like, hey, let's go back to my country, for a little while, kind of taint his soul, his his Eastern world soul a little bit, get him to take some days off, sloth a little bit. Not that Western world people are not hard workers, but yeah, I mean, he's denying himself some pleasures. Some of our well, most some of our parts of our readings is always about, will he ever learn to enjoy the pleasures of the fruits of his labor? Who knows? Hopefully, because marriage is like a long time. Yeah. Oh my gosh. So yeah, it's gonna be amazing. I think today, but I did arrive here on time, making sure that everything flows right. Oh yeah, this is not a channel where I mean, I do readings, but I already have my clients, so I'm not looking for clients through YouTube. I just come in and I like to do my work side by side while I go live, and I talk about different subjects. Um, but at the same time, I'm learning to guard my channel. So yeah, I don't, my channel is going. It's not aimless. It is going in a very specific direction. Um, yeah, so I do have, some things in mind that I intend to do with the channel. I talk about it all the time, so much that I'm like, gosh, I say this like every single live because the channel is growing. Obviously, it's gaining people's attention. Um, I'm already beginning to feel eyes. I'm already addressing eyes. um, and gosh, some conversations I'm kind of dreading. I'm like, I already know how this typically goes. People think they know you until they know you, and then when they know you, then that's it. Okay, now they know you. So, um, so I'm not in a big hurry for that, and I'm going to like just try to focus on my assignment, which is I want to create a safe space to discuss um, more advanced, like uh, it could be mundane astrology, astrological things. So it could be the practical world, but also metaphysical world and very interesting subjects that I haven't even begun really studying it myself. I've vetted the information, but I have not even started with the information. But also over the next 2 days, I'm getting into big information as well. So yeah, I'm not going to say what it is because people will say, I know what that is already. And I'm like, no, you don't. No, you don't. You won't know what it is until after I say it. But if I say what it is, you'll say, I know what that is. And it's like, that's the point. You know what it is. So, or at least which is right because that's what it is what you read and also what was taught to you. Oh, by the way, it's going to be in studio so that you can see what I'm seeing so you don't say, okay, well, you can look at it, anybody can look at the camera and just say, this is what it is. Oh, by the way, I'm listening to so many things. You like spooky stuff? Okay, so on Twitter, they're trying to I'm exhausted because I already did like this psychic prediction. This elevated to I had to elevate this to prophecy months ago, like a year ago, about the Red Scare. I even did a live here, and I did the whole thumbnail. It's the Red Scare, McCarthyism, and yeah. But we got into. I studied because of that's where you guys were. I had to study that as a light worker, and then now I know what McCarthyism is. And then World War I, World War II, and then the doomsday prophets and pastors trying to bring on World War III, and how they needed certain characters, world leaders to play, just to play your role, play their role so they can bring in this stuff. Reason why do Western people, why is that so attractive to the Western people? Yes, that's because they need the information to share that as prophets. But of course, we know that it's everything that is said there is in reverse. But they sort of started blasting it um, over the past 48 hours. Um, this information, I'm not going to respond. I'm not going to tell them where they are. I look at it like this: I said what I said. So I'd rather be famous instead. So I'm going to stay exactly, like I already have, which I can, well, if I was in studio, I could just go to my Twitter or I could go to, let's look in my live videos, and it's red. It has a red skull, bloody skull on front of it, I think, or fiery one, but it has a skull on it nonetheless, and it's just red. It says McCarthyism. You can't miss it. And just then there's that. So I taught, and what I mean by the world leaders, the characters, like they would need, in order for that to happen, they would need Putin to play his role. Turns out, by the way, McCarthyism is associated with a whole lot of gunk, and like they need it requires there to be Satanism. It requires that there's also every divisive tool utilized to create division. And oh my gosh, okay, if I may be a little, I'm not being shade or anything like that, but if I may be speaking my shade, there are uh, white people are expressing black discomfort in climate of discrimination more than black people. So there, I'm hearing, uh, what do you call it? Complaints like black. It's like complaints about black people experiencing discrimination, but I'm hearing it from white people. This year, for the past 6 months or 8 months now, I've not heard any black person in this year complain about discrimination, racism. Only personal, like their personal experiences, like losing a job, uh, like personal stuff, like this group of people just absolutely hate my guts. So I'm not hearing that from black people. I haven't heard much of these kinds of lives, even these lives. I hear lives about the history, but they don't say this year, this group, this administration. I never find it. About I like that because it's like I can actually scroll and not feel like I'm eating like bad apple like all the time, like eating bad fruit that's not good, that's been sitting out and it's not good, that flies all around it, and I'm like indulging it all day, and like another one, another one. What happened to you? Oh boy. Then I'm like checking my bank, like are they doing me in too? Are they like somebody comes up, a stranger says hi, and I'm like what I'm paranoid. Like you have to. Are they like getting me? So yeah. So it's the oddest thing. It's white people are saying you're hated. This. You're that. It's like gosh. What would you say if you had to replace that with like okay, if you had to speak and replace that information, that I guess whatever thing, anything in the world that you could say, what would that be other than if you just had to choose anything other than black people you're hated, black people you're not, being held back, you're, discrimination, like, but see, that means that last year and other previous years, black people were constantly complaining about discrimination and racism with paperwork, and they were on the news and they're taking it to big platforms, but not now. Not right now. So I mean that, and so it's like, and like okay, the bottom line, besides complaints, okay, what is the tangible things? What is not being done that's making them mad? Nothing is being done. That's why. Fix this. When are we gonna find a solution? And year after year after year, it didn't. And then this year, everything is everything is so calm. Everything is so calm. Yeah, people, is it perfect? Gosh, no. But one thing they're not complaining about is what people are trying to. It's like some of like the people who are happen to be white, and by the way, Latinos are like they're the men are special. Like people, other groups are asking. Even I saw a person of Orient asking black people, "What's going on? You all are all awfully quiet." It's like, and then it's like they're trying to like they want to shame black people for being happy. Like I'm very happy, very content, and life is not easy. But I'm more peace than I've ever been, beyond the past 8 months. Like I'm content. I'm not anxious. My heart, like I don't feel like there's pressure on my chest. I don't feel like like why, like who's having a heart attack, or is that me? Is it your heart attack or is it my heart attack? I don't feel none of that. I don't feel anxious. I don't feel or anxiousness. I don't feel anxiety. I don't feel depressed. And it's like then see that's what. Now this is the part. I get the sense that because if a person or this group is only what source of income, I do get to sense that because like every political thing is like this group act as a constellation for um, black people. It's specific, but a constellation meaning if it doesn't if okay it doesn't go right in the way that they wanted it, they're going to take away your job. But here's the thing: they still would take away jobs, even if Kamala would be Madam President Kamala. They still would have took the job anyway. So that's it. See, you see what I'm saying? It's like, oh, well, you thought that you were gonna get a big raise. What you thought you were gonna get, like a big, we're gonna throw a big office party and like I'm gonna pull you, put my arm around you, and like, I'm so proud of this person. You're looking at your new director. You thought that, right? Yeah, no, that's or somebody new, or they outsource someone. You've been trying for that position. You've been told you great and qualified for it. So it's like kind of like either way. It means like it's like either coin you flip, the same consequence. It's like it says, this is a time of independent and building your own, building something for yourself. Like capture. Okay, I do believe that. Okay, so I captured a big contract. I'm in a very nice position, big positions. So I'm now. What? So what are you doing? I'm doing I'm investing into my YouTube, for example, because I'm going to bridge my field of expertise into doing live venues, for example. So that's what I want to do as a way of channeling my independence into my world, into my personal life. But I'm also learning how, because, I love professionalism. I love following rules and policy. I love structure. So I'm being disciplined in this space, and then I'm channeling that. Yeah, so I definitely want my channel to be taken serious, obviously. Clearly, yes. Like I said, I didn't say this was a perfect world. I'm just saying I'm noticing a huge difference from other years, let alone other administrative segments. I'm semesters. I'm noticing a difference. And yes, both sides have, uh, if you, what's another word besides that one? Have multiple peoples. So different peoples, yes. On either side, yes. On either side. So, but I've also been Spirit has had me talk about the difference between compassion and empathy, and also similarities. What makes them similar? Sympathy. Empathy means to walk in the shoes. Compassion means kindness. Empathy doesn't mean kindness. Compassion does. It means sympathy, and compassion means sympathy. The one we're looking for in this one, which one is right for this conversation, is compassion. I'm compassionate, meaning if this is the better way, they will benefit. What are they going to do? Turn it away? Turn away the fact that, um, like if uh, what do you call it? The minimum wage is raised. By the way, people will say, if I get a raise, the first thing I would do is return back to college campus. I would love to, if I had a little bit more money, if I make a little bit more money, or when I thought I would, when I first started the job, I make an X amount of money, and then I would go to community college, for example, for 2 years, and then hop over and make something of my life, get a degree, come back to my job and say, hey, you send me, get me through some of these courses. I can bring some of those skills back here, and it'd be a wonderful investment for you. So it can open up that conversation. That's speaking to, yeah. So there's a lot of ways, like this new ways. That's the thing. Problems are set, and it sort of kind of holds problem issues in place that are not ever meant to be fixed. And so now it's like, all right, so as minority, okay, uh, they take certain, what do you call it, when you enablers. They take certain enablers from me. I'm going to keep it broad here. Enablers, enabling me to, right? They take that away. I'm like, oh, what do I do now? Well, let's find a new solution that's none of the ones that we tried, that it just only enables you in a different way, like a different enabler, same result, and then same conversations of balances of power in which, you know and they've gotten so good at it that, like they're even doing at younger, the conversations are starting at younger ages. So basically you look at somebody, like through 2, 3 times younger than you, just all they have to do is just repeat to you the same enablers, and with numbers and like paragraphs, pre-written paragraphs, here, and it's like, of course, if it's you can use numbers and graphs or geometry or calculus and create formula that create and then create like a mathematical equation for a very specific result. And you can apply it, and people, when you apply that, you certainly can. more like, creating like a bit of a matrix. So it's beautiful. And this is not to say that everybody doesn't have their own, like role in where it's not benefit, where others don't benefit, and where some do, and it crosses over. 'Cause it's got to be enticing enough. But it's like once you wake up from this, you're like, I don't want this. I don't know how to get out of it, but I don't want this. And then it's like, well, what if we remove the whole doggone thing? Now what are you gonna talk about? It's kind of like, oh, and they said they took issue with, they don't understand why, um, if I may overstep, why does the president, why is he against museums specifically that teach the history? Well, guess who's teaching the history? Well, if you think in the sense of let's say Europe, okay, so when Europe went and retrieved things that are from other cultures, what ends up happening later? Other cultures are saying, please may we have our things back. you know, And so basically, he says, you've got somebody who is, he's not saying black person. Stop saying how uh, slavery wasn't good. He's saying it's always, he says he can see through the grift. There's a grift. There's white people who are making a living of saying how not great slavery was when they benefited from slavery, and the very think presentations, think displays are from countries who's asking for their, still to this day asking for their things back. So the hypocrisy, he's, yes, but people, you know they need to be prophets. They need to, they, what are they going to talk about if they can't talk about these old wounds? So what happens when these wounds actually close up and heal? What are they going to talk about? Then they're like, it's like they snap. It's like they become resuscitated. Like uh, black people are the books of unprotected. They always black people are most suffering and so so now they're in Washington. They're laying out the blueprint of specifically the uh, first of all, they're asking why are young black people dying at the hands of gun violence. That's what they're looking at. Furthermore, they're looking at, of course, they're going to tackle homelessness. They're like, we're going to clean out our, like they say, clean up your yard first before you start talking about my yard or my backyard, my neighborhood. Clean up your. So they're over there like, well, that's what just in case you missed it. They're like, well, we're gonna, you know, clean up. This should be the most sacred space, like royalty come through here. It should be absolutely safe. And by the way, out of all the groups, like, what about all the shows where like, you're tough, don't, so why are they coming up? They not missing. They coming. They not washing up. I don't know if they're washing up, but they're coming up deceased, and specifically in this fashion. When you like people who are like, I care about my Second Amendment. Now, with those who fought as they fought, right, for their Second Amendment right, it must be really bad for them to say for them to mention gun violence. It must be really bad for them to match gun violence with incongruent with bearing arms. The fact that they're the bearing arms, club side. They're all about bearing arms. Even like, yeah, we want everybody to have the right to bear arms. They even question whether if that's um, like an absolute right where if you like want to own a firearm, you just can. I think they have that in one state. I'm not. It's a southern state. I'm not sure which one. Because I'm not even going to put that out there, but I know that I can look it up because I heard it from a reputable source. Um, but they're addressing gun violence, but also homelessness as well. They're doing a lot more than that, but this like just two that I'm able to decipher, and which means that's going to become all across eventually. You know, they already Chicago's already sent some of their groups. Oh, they're like Chicago. Chicago's like, let me get some of that. So they're Florida, all these hotbeds for these pocket places where people, I guess, like they've elevated the vibrations where it's like, oh yeah, man, it's its own little jungle, you know, and they compare it to like Iraq, you know, or like like a country of its own. Oh yeah, that's a country unto itself, and like that's a badge of honor. They're like, so anyway, these states are sent their deployed their servicemen and women to Washington. They're gonna learn and then bring it back home and then start up some stuff. Yeah, with like looking more into, and if you and if well being that this is my health, is I'm responsible for my own health. I can't expect other people to, you know, I mean, I would like to think they would have compassion, um, you know, or something, sympathetically, if nothing else. Sympathetic is probably better than I don't care what you do, or what you're doing. You know, I don't care. But you know, compassion would be nice. But anyways, if a person wouldn't care about my health or the potential that, like, let's say you shouldn't take chemo because you already know you're gonna lose all your hair, but I know that I've already been told and kind of guided the process that I need this because it's gonna help my physical body get better. And somebody is telling me don't do it because it doesn't look good. You know, that's a person I would say they don't probably don't care about my health, or they want to, like, well, you're expendable, give up your health, you know, be miserable, be miserable. If I can't be happy in the climate, then why are you so happy? You know, it's like, oh, I dare not smile in front of this person. This person doesn't like the temperature in the room. That's loaded. Political climate. So anyway, uh yeah, so we're getting, I know it's it's crazy, right? It's a crazy stuff going on here. Y'all have me thinking, tossing and turning like all night. So yeah, that's pretty wild. And they had pictures of, you know, of humans, you know, and yes, from a very specific, and it was like they represent, look, this is how many, this is most right here. Some of them were blacked out. I'm like, I don't, if you don't want to see it and show it, I don't want to see it. So there's a person where their photos were just black. Then they had the faces of, you know, all of them black. Let's be clear, all of them black, by way of gun violence, deceased. Okay. So that's the issue that they're tackling. Then you have some, you know, especially the LGBT I is like they're planning to map out some. I don't know. This me being kind of you know, maybe um, antagonistic, but it's like, you know, like they're up there trying to stop next year's parade. You know, it's like no, they're Or something like they're outside of the chapels. Like, no, you can't marry in here. You can't utilize this building no more. It belongs to belongs to decent people. It's like they're like, well, they're already sending this up to you, and they're targeting black men. Well, like they're targeting black men just like minding their own, like sitting on a you know on while they're on the porch, like just chatting, having a chat, Friday night guys chat, dusk, which was always fun. The children ride the bike. It's getting before it gets too dark and the night light turns on, like back in the day, or the light post. When actuality, this is called human interaction with law enforcement. Law enforcement saying, "Hey, there are changes being made. Let people know that kind of spread it around. Like be a community. Look after your brother. Look after your neighbor. Your brother, yeah, it's your brother, but your brother could be someone like the brother from another mother. He could be a brother from another mother. He could be that in there in the brother group. But he's saying, look, just kind of like get spread it around that we're present and like some people like I'm hearing a lot of like people from like LGBTQ try to explain or I try to explain this, and it's like get your head out of your like that means you're so wrapped up in your guts that you're not like considering other people. Like they're literally telling you we have, how many times we got to say it, we have an other type of epidemic, which is the hate of each other is so great that it's like it's competing on a world stage of death. So anyway, so they're there. They're like, look, we are working through this. We're challenging you. If you're it, here we are. Here it is. We're here. We're challenging you. You said do something about it. Why don't you do something about it? You can fix anything. Well, guess what? We fixed our problem with our fentanyl issue. We closed up our border. Zero people who don't belong here. By the way, who's also attacking you, not just us, who are attacking you too. Yes, there were. I'm not gonna press that hot button, but yes, everybody got some of that. So now, okay, that's taken care of. Also, including fentanyl. Yes, it wasn't just white males issues. Fentanyl also was kind of trickled over, obviously because I see you do it. I'm going to want to do it too. So there you go. What's the new hottest thing? Is that hot? Okay, you said it's hot. Wow, it must be something. So there you go. Well, guess what? We had, and then we just getting started. We had plenty of time to, you said the other issue was if, y'all are so smart, if it was you, you would have it taken care of since, let's say, last week. So, okay, well, this is this week, and now we're here. Now you're like, what are you doing here? So no, we are challenging black gun violence. Like here it is. So and homelessness and tackling homelessness. Wow, that's doing the job of they do the church. They do have a ministry though, in the White House, right? They have a church ministry. Okay, so or its own little. So okay, we can give them that. So anyway, doing the job of the churches, they're handling. They are gonna use their muscle, and then they're gonna to like look. Now it's not just spiritually like no one should be homeless, no one should go hungry tonight. It's like it's the law. It's, hey, did you come up with that like last year? You come up with that last year? So, anyways, plus, even if let's say I'm not, let's just say I want Kamala Harris, I would have served and worked every day under her power. I think that would have been so fascinating, by the way. but I'm working with the power that I have now. I'm talking about the power that I have now. That's the power I'm going to wield. Because since, especially if you have to, well, most people won't understand this, but you have to make do with what you have. Right now, this is what I have. So I'm gonna make do with what I've got and make today better. I'm like, can't we? But some of us, because since we're not rich, and some even like some LGBT people, they're good, right? Because and they're highly supported. I support them in my own way. All that we pray for them, go for it. But they they can hold out. They can, as they say, fly to the other country for a while. Get out of Dodge. Take them. Like I'll just go into the disappear. To their top balcony. I mean, they can do that. But a lot of people they can't wait 4 years. 4 years. That is that's a coffin. So not everybody can do that and live. Not I mean like literally live. It's like they have to be like present mentally, physically, and also in soul present because soul mean there's people who's counting on them. They have responsibilities. They got to go, hey, I said it's time for get up. You need this education because you have a fight on your hands. People going to tell that you don't deserve joy, the simplest things that you take for granted today, because I shield you from it. I'm taking the brunt end of it. I'm telling you, get up from this bed. And then so they're on their way to graduate and all that good stuff, which is wonderful. That's what they're supposed to do. And then go try to find some of the better parts of society and indulge in pleasures in that space. Yeah. So all of that, um, yeah, which is interesting because other parts of the world are witnessing these vibrations, and of course they have their thoughts on it, and then reflection, and it's like, are you okay? It's like, ooh, you must not be right in the mind if you're happy because all the stuff that's going on. Are you really okay? So it's like, oh my gosh. So that means um, your happiness is going to be defined, and you want to get used to this. It should you would want it to feel oddly different from other people's energy. If you're happy just because someone is saying so, you're probably more gaslit than happy. Because the moment they leave and all your demeanor changes and you go dark, you feel depleted, that doesn't make them an energy vampire. It just may mean you're just gaslit and you're not really like your happiness is not burning from within. Like right now, I'm burning from within because although this is a crazy time and a very unpredictable time, clearly very unpredictable. The the prophets, the doomsday prophets, can't even get it right, right? I mean, very unpredictable, and but at the same time, like all of these moments that represent like something that you can create yourself. You can do yourself or for your family, for your community, whichever, however that looks, And I think when sometimes in this way, when I say community, I think I mean your community made up of all peoples. I don't know how many times whenever I go out, I'm like reassuring people. I'm like I say something to the effects of like I'll touch the counter. I say because they'll say, well, you can always if you like me, give you your refund. I mean, I don't mind. I'll do that for you. And I'll touch the counter and I'll say, well, I'm not difficult. You know me, but I know why I'm saying that. I'm speaking a code. I'm definitely saying, you know, I know you you know, watching the internet all the time, and you're seeing, like people who look, who look like you arguing with people who may symbolize me. But you know that, I come here and nothing has changed. I still come in, I do great business, and I'm always happy in the end. And but they've always, but this is no different. Every time it always felt like when they're interacting with me, it's like the world stops around me. It's like everything slows. It's like it's kind of like people are like monitoring, like listening in. And then I end up like later on, if I visit and they'll say, "Oh, they said that you're so," I'm like, gosh, I'm being discussed with like, and I'm not even present. Like, oh, I'm always say, huh? Yeah. Oh, that was very nice of them. Tell them I said hello. It's like some stranger. Yeah, it's the most bizarre thing. And that's without this climate. They did that in all of the climates, even the Democratic administrations. So that has always been something. There's always been the same. So, anyways, hmm so it's just reassuring that look, nothing has changed. Yeah, but yeah, I have noticed. I don't notice things like that keep me in distraction from loving humanity. So it's very rare that I have these type of conversations. So this is something that I've noticed because I think that they're making a psychic problem. If I don't really address things unless it's going to interfere with like it becomes a psychic problem or like a spirit, like into the spiritual realm. Entering Unless you enter spiritual realm, then I'll make it something that I will take a closer look at, and then I'll speak about it. So that's why I'm bringing this out. Yeah, so I will see conflict before it arrives. So like I was already prepared for today's conversation before or as it was reaching me. hmm It's like, wow, you kind of knew what to say. Was that like always on your heart? I'm like, well, since the past hours, waking up, it's kind of been on the consciousness. Kind of knew you were coming. So, and this is what I was told. This is like message for you from spirit. Period. hmm Yes. Like, so if 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 let's say, let's stay with the black conversation. If black people are not doing their usual complaints, right? They're not complaining like usual stuff, then what are they talking about? They are talking about other sophisticated, like hot, like intellectual, mathematical, like adding, the usual, like, well, here's the numbers. They're talking about other things. Like there's other things they are willing to talk about. Now, don't that doesn't mean that, like again, doesn't mean that they can't talk about, like if they like they'll talk about a history or something like that, something like history, academic worthy, but they're not like directly saying that, And by the way, are they like even checking? Yes, like they will look at a full situation, what I find, and then they make their assessment. But they're talking about, like, right now, pop culture pretty much. That's what they're talking about, like pop culture. They're talking about statistics. They're talking about health, women's health, men's health. they're like finally talking about things that are personal to themselves, not things that are talk about other people, what other people are doing, influencing their lives. They're not talking about that at this time. They're talking about things specifically with themselves that they are doing for themselves, with themselves, to themselves. That's what they're talking about. To my under when I observe, which that's what everybody else does, by the way. And everybody else, of course, you know what used to happen to me? It's like people will mind their business, but the moment I start writing or reading or becoming self-absorbed, that's when people started want to interact with me. Mhm. Like I can go outdoors and I'm telling you, people won't wave unless I look focused. Not it's almost like like if I take my attention off them, they're going to disappear. Like that's the way that my parents explained it to me. They're like, it's like you think that if I don't bother them, bug them, I mean, like in an annoying way, that it's like I'm gonna disappear or something. They just joke around, but that was so funny. And so yeah, people tend to be like that with me, but they've always done that growing up. But it's not like any group; it was all groups. Like other black students, I mean, they would interact and talk and all that, but they really wouldn't want to be social unless, like, if they saw me, right, like I was like expanding my notes and I'm like reading my books and I'm doing, looking into my definitions and, doing, into my thoughts. That's when then all of a sudden they all will sit around. They used to, I don't know how, countless times, like every day, like, okay, I would go to the library. They all cluster around me in the library and they're like start talking and but whenever I'm distracted I'm like looking at the fairies, nowhere to be found. Like, hey, we noticed that you're kind of a little out there, come back to planet earth, like aren't you gonna read the book? You're what you're looking for is probably in here. They're not doing that. They're more like, hey, hey, like why are you gonna just ignore us like that? Like what's going on? Like they start asking questions and so and I'm like, does any of your questions have anything to do with this? Okay, back up. so so I did notice that and still to this day it's very much like that. Like I'll be at a cafe and strangers will literally stop in front of me and they will not like move on to go get their drink or lot or whatever until I look up. I look up, they just walk off. Like very odd, like weird, like. They'll like look and stare, and they're like this. I'm telling you, never met them in before in my life. It's always like that energy, and so sometimes I get so I just go like, I go. Sometimes I'll go like, but if I go like that, then they're like, like wanting to engage. So I have to go like, this is my signal, love. Keep going, or I'll keep doing what I'm doing. So I get that happens to me a lot every time. So, which is almost I know it's not normal, but if it happens so common, it's so common. It's like it's normal. Like, well, that's normally what happens. But it's always happening. It doesn't matter where I've gone in that way. Uh, yeah, yeah. So there's that. But anyways, yeah. While other people, of course, like I'll see other people who are studying like a young person. I'm like, that person is like 6'1", 6'3", slim build, young, college, the whole aesthetic. and that person completely ignored. If I'm on one side of the room, that's where everybody gonna be. If I'm on the other side of the room, that's where everybody gonna be at. And they don't go bothering him or her who's over there, the good look, like they don't go over there and like, hey, so yeah, like it's like they'll sit, they'll look, they'll try. That person's like, do I like or you know what you get over here? You get one of these. They like they. So I'm like, hmm. So I'm like, that's how you do it. so, so yes, it's a potential you might. If I'm in the room, you might get ignored. They might ignore you. That's the story. Oh gosh. So yeah, it's unbelievable when you think that, oh good, somebody like, young college oh yeah, they're gonna take some of this social energy off of me and people are gonna want to talk, gonna want to interact with them and less with me. It's like we're still here. We're still here. Like, oh man, I thought you was gonna go talk you know, to the young one. And I'm like looking, I'm like how far does this go? And I'm pretty far already, by the way. Just if you can, I'm loading things now. It's all loaded. My statements. Okay, so what else? Was that it? Is that it, Spirit? Yeah, I think that covers it. On a much lighter note, now y'all know I work with people from all over, and I love what I do. I love the fact that I can talk to many people and that they understand what in the world I'm talking about, even if they are, different in their own way because different parts of the world. So it helps me to enjoy the journey better. I love the journey. So I'm going to continue, um, to interact with all the peoples of the world. Peoples. And people in their cultures and religions. I work really well with the Hindu religion, by the way. So, like Indian, Muslim, definitely Christians. Um, yeah, I can't think of. Not, I don't see any conflict. I don't have any hangups with that. Um, yeah. So someday, when I'm doing live venues, I'm hoping that it has all the peoples and it literally looks like the rainbow, and and incorporated, you know, uh, the chakras. The top crown chakra is white gold, so all of the colors, including the black, which is also the chakra here, not here, not this one here. It's the one that has the question mark. But all in between, all of the colors, um, and it's a venue, and just during the venue, everybody's just here to have a breakthrough, their own special breakthrough. I'm definitely gonna love those venues, and people can come together, come as they are, come individually, and it's they're gonna be open, like just open. So I'm gonna enjoy that, but secure. I'm already thinking, what about security? I'm gonna I'm thinking about that as well. I considered all that because I already looked into it, and they told me that anything is possible as far as I can vision. If I can envision it, tell them, like they, from even how to set up the room, I'll be in charge of it. So I could do those. I can do, other types of kind of like layout to create, spaces or venues. I've even gone as far as like, okay, if I wanted to, I asked very generally, like, what if I wanted to, like, rent out this or, auditorium or theater? And they're like, yeah, it's the easiest. It's like, turns out it's the easiest thing in the world. Kind of like when I wanted to start, just like I started a charity. And then, of course, to start a charity, all you have to do is, you have to start a business. So you make a business, and then you switch it over into after it's incorporated from fictitious, incorporated, and then you get bylaws, and then you make it into a nonprofit 501c3, and then it becomes charity. So that's how that's done. I've done that, and it's a big thing to do that, but honestly, it only took like less than like 8 weeks completely, like 2 months. Like within 2 months, it was all the way put together, and I was in the system, had the number and everything. That means I could go and start. In fact, I could start accepting uh, donations and things well before that it was even because it was already posted, so it was already live. Even before the paperwork arrived, so it was all like expedited to me. By the way, so yeah, easiest thing. Somebody like, long as you're just like of age to start a business. I think 18 in this matter. Like age 18. So that means you. Yeah, it was just easy. It was just easy. Okay, it was just easy. uh, so yeah, there's just certain things that are like, it's not difficult to do. It's just a matter of doing it and doing it correctly. Of course, if you do it correctly and with your charisma, you could be very successful, extremely, extraordinarily successful. Um, which made me think of like the potential of what people could do. This is the potential of what they could do. And it's like, wow, something that is, is extraordinarily simple. But I would hear other people speak on these things, and they talk about the different loops and what they had to do, and I'm like, it's well. Here's the thing. I would always describe. Oh, I've done that. That's very simple. All you have to do is this, and then they like change up the subject. It's like, oh, they don't want to do it, but they could do it so easily, and they'd be really good at it because they would be something that they would chase after, or they want to run yours. They don't want it in their name. They want to run yours, like something. They don't feel like they conquered something. So I'm like, oh, So he's like, so tell me about your. I'm like, well, oh yeah, it was an old thing that I tried. I only was in it briefly. Like, I just know how to do it. It's like trying to come hunt for the like, want to read your paperwork, no. If you want to do it for yourself, like, why would I want to you on a board with me? So yeah, like uninspired. If they're uninspired, I better should say it that way. If they're uninspired themselves, and now, but they're inspired only because they want to be on the board. They want me to put them in charge of something or make them a board member. Or like, why? So they can be destructive in my name or something like that? No way. Yeah, yeah, that's not good. I caught that fast. I caught that so fast. I didn't have time to think. Oh my gosh. Uh, I dodged that bullet. Faster than that. There was no shots fired. It was so fast. I was like, mm. But anyway, so I guess that's pretty much it. Anyway, that's where we are. And oh, there is one little element. Now, this one does sound a little. It sounds a little. Let me see. Sounds a little judgmental. Okay, now I can say it. There's some group that they kind of want to, it's like they kind of want to experience, like some of the history part where like the power dynamic, and this is not picking on any group. I think it's in all people. Like they want to like they want to be like in charge of other people. And how can I say a delicate way of saying it? Oh, this is all people, by the way. This is not, it's like you can't put any one group on this. This is all groups, all peoples. And so some people are coming to the realization that actually the people who they want to have charge over actually want their autonomy or more autonomy. Like they want, there's some people they want to be in charge of themselves. And so there's this group that can't believe that it's like a rejection. Like you're rejecting, like you're turning me down. Like it's that feeling like you, it's like, who would you rather? Would you rather this person be in charge of you or for they to be in charge of you? And then you're like, I don't want anybody to be in charge of me. And this is an opportunity where I will be in charge of myself. And they're like, that's the most bizarre. I don't think there's an answer for that. There's not a formula, or a strategy for that. You have to make it. Here are your choices. So let's say it this way then. What if, so yeah, there's right now their soul is being tested. So they're like they cannot believe it, right? Because it's like, what if you actually start living your life to the fullest and they have to now question what does their existence means. And then it's like they have this group is saying, well, they have a right to exist, but they mean exist in your reality. And you're saying exist to your, everyone exists one to themselves, onto themselves. I'm going to exist as an individual in my reality, and you can exist in your reality. And they're like losing it. Like, but who's going to be in charge of you? You're like, me. Is that so hard to believe? So you're dealing with that. So that's like the last little piece of everything I said. Then add this little piece. Yeah, it's a bit of a problem. Yeah. There's some more deeper stuff, but I guess that'll be for another conversation. I'm going to keep it friendly today. I'm not going to indulge, dark fruits. Yeah. But there's no slim pickings here. That's a lot. But everything I said right now is a lot. And it's there was even some personal things in there. And I even personalized stuff because some of it, like, it links to me as well, because it doesn't apply just to people. And it's like it can apply to anybody. Is what I'm saying. Yeah. So it's very bizarre. And I said all that without using any of those tricky words. Did you notice? I'm not going to say. I don't even. I'm still not even going to say the word as an example. I did it. It says words that are implied. They're one words, but you have the understanding that we're speaking in terms of like groups of peoples, not one group over the other specifically, because that's too blinding to think in that and along those terms, because you'd have to think in very isolated experiences, like very like not like from the bigger picture. Now you want to hone and zero in under microscope and look at this little itty bitty microcosmic experience between they and yourself. But we like to look at all, like, from the macrocosm, like look at the, like, spread that, like, see the bigger picture, like, now look look at all this. There's still that, obviously, but there's all of this too. And then it's a different approach. So then, you start to, because it's like ignoring some major parts of your case. Because a lot of times it's, well, first of all, how did this group even identify me? How did they even find me? Or how did I find them? And then when you turn the knob where you see the big, you like, huh, oh, I see. And you realize there are different groups here, or peoples here, invested same cause. And they're like, okay, so now I know what to do. I need to draw the border lines, and then now you can move in the way, like, do something different, whatever it is. I don't know, because this is all I mean, it's hypothetical for now until it gets real. And then we can look at the world differently, because likewise, thank goodness that there's balance in nature. There are really good peoples in the world. That's what we're saying. That's our bottom. Like, there's really good peoples in the world, because you can look at it where some people are really wonderful to sit with, or to uh, give services to. They make great customers, as well, um, or partners, and so forth. Or, other casual stuff as well, recreational things. But I mean, like, in the business sense of, like, doing something to enhance your life, there are really some really nice uh, people's other groups, like picks, other, like, picks, I guess. So what are your picks? That's terminology. That's uh, with work. But yeah, it's like you choosing. So then you find, let's say, really great picks, and they make up people's, but they are absolutely amazing people, right? Or include, and that doesn't, obviously that includes some people who are from your community, but not all. Likewise, the other one where it's, this is the worst group. And then you also are saying this is a work group, and it so happens there are some people, that would, on paper, or the photographer would say, yeah, they're same community. Yeah, but it's this is not your community. That's not your community. You can, it's okay to say that you're not of their community. So that means that there's something, there's a difference. There's this community is different from that community. So this is what we understand. And but someday, who knows? Other, like, people can, what do you call it? They can earn their way to maybe the community where, where it's beneficial for you to be a part of their community, or for they to be a part of your community. So it's good to think of it, to think in those terms. Um, because when you think about, like, people who, like, want to, whatever they intend to do to you, the first thing they're trying to do is isolate you. It's isolation, isolate you from. We'll pick back up in a little bit. A pleasure. Donald here. Are you there? Oh, a pleasure. Donald here. So you're here for a psychic reading. It's a pleasure answering a few of your questions today. And where will you start? Excuse me. I need to disconnect. Okay. So they're kind of acting strange, so I had to disconnect. I wanted to take the call, but I'm just not into. I know I need the money, but I don't. I just not. I don't want. I don't play stupid well, or I don't play it well. So I had to let go of that client. I need the money. I know I need to do the reading. I am not the kind of psychic that need to turn down readings, but I just can't play stupid. Like, if somebody's like on the line, they're like playing around and they're not being real in conversation. I can't play along. I know, even though I know I'm charging them, I just can't. It's just not in me. I've always said, Lord, please. I knew when the first time that I picked, I was like, Lord, please always give me the ability to. My strongest, powerful weapon is that I can pick myself up and walk away, and with no explanation. Like, when I'm like done that, that's it. I'm done. There's no hunting me down. There's no chasing me down. There's no turning me back around. There's no calling out my name. Like, yeah, when I've had it, I've had it. So I'm like, thank you, Lord, for always giving me the ability to walk away, because I can't handle it. I can't handle, like, hey, play along, be stupid. I can't do it. I can't. Mm-mm. It gets to me too much. I'm like, if you're thirsty, go get water. If you're a thirsty person, go get you some water. If you don't act right, I'm gonna hang up on you again. Donald here. A pleasure. Are you here for a psychic reading? Okay, good. Well, what I do is I do psychic readings and I work with the guides. And if you have questions or areas that you're interested in, I'd be more than happy to relay that information to you, whatever comes up. Depends on what you want to talk about today. So the way that we begin our reading, I never ask the client, your client. So I never ask a client a question. So you will need to more or less know what you want to ask the guides. And then as you do that, I can then get you information that you need before you leave. So you can start at any time. Could you state that one more time? Okay. Okay, so let's take a look into this. So, what I could see in this regard is spiritually say that they will be playing at their highest vibration. So, they have a high chance for victory. They have a very strong, fiery, we're talking about Aries, the sign of competition. So they definitely can win. Can you win with this team? I mean, maybe yourself if they were to win. Would I see yes? I want to say yes. This will materialize for you. Okay, there you go. They wanted to know if a football team would win. That's a test call because one of my clients actually, um, I'm watching her son grow up. Her son is advanced football player in Europe. Their kind of football, not our football. And well, he started from like age 11. Now he's from 12 to 13. Now he's 13 and a half. And all these big clubs are like waiting for him to become a young man. They basically like get back in touch with us when you can like leave home and drive and come here on your own. Like, but they're like, here's the coaches, right? And they're like coaching men to play football, and here's mom like, I don't know if I want my boy, she's like talking to the coaches. He's like, I don't have time for this. I'm trying to win trophies and championships and big arenas and get sponsors and dealing with the mama. He's like, so they're kind of like training him at a distance, but all these coaches are like, he travels to different, I mean, at his age, 13, well, 13 and a half, traveling to different countries. Like his next tournament is in Spain, and she was asking, should he be able to allow to go? Of course, I read his future, like, yeah, very good at it, and his life is going to be made of travel. But yeah, she reminded me of my dad. My dad always asked who's gonna win because, but now we would make a deal though. My dad would say, if I win, if you're right and I win, I will, break you off some ends. Meaning, I'll share with you. I'll take you to the store and I'll get you some things. And of course he would place a bet. So who you think is gonna win? And or how by how many points. And this is when I didn't have tarot cards then. I had regular poker cards, and I was like 10. I think I was age 10 or 11. Oh, I was just turning 11, so I was age 10. And I would check. Now I didn't start doing. I wouldn't like. Okay, let me get my cards dead and like put. I didn't start really showing how I was getting the answers yet. So I would say, okay, let me think about it. I would say, well, let me think about it. But I'm saying yes, Dad. But let me go think about who's gonna win. Just give me about 10 minutes. So I'd go off, and then I'd have my cards and I poker cards, the poker cards, and I would lay them out and I would discover who's gonna win or like in range of points, and then I'd come back, tell Dad, he'd be and he'd say, "So you find the answer?" And I was like, "Mm-hmm." This one. He's like, "Are you sure?" And then he call his buddy. They do the whole place in the bet. He says, "Are you sure? Is this the one? Because we're gonna win, right? This is for like, yes, we're gonna win." Sure enough, we would win because we would my mom would make our dish, which is Nigerian, so we'd all be set out and I'd have our tray and they would have their tray that they shared, a love bowl of fufu, and I'd have mine, and I'd be like this gobbling, 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 and watching the last end, and sure enough, they'd win. So yeah, that question reminded me of my dad. But I know they chose with that question, but it was a test call she was asking because they tend to actual real clients will talk about discussions and they play on those conversations, and yeah, it gets weird, very like men and women in black kind of like. So I hate that part of the industry. I hate that so much. And also they're writers, so they like take you know uh, things and write a and do writing and things. Um, but they make the experience weird for me. I'm supposed to pretend like they don't do it, or like the way they speak to me. They speak to it as like it's a real, like it. Well, it's not real conversation, but they interact with me, and I'm like, it's like everybody has a conversation that you're not in on, so it feels like that. So it feels very weird. But it's how I navigate it, where it's not like a psychological issue. Again, that playing stupid bit, not my cup of tea. Um, I just go ahead and I just read them for real. So if they ask a very specific thing, I have them ask a very specific thing. Then I answer it in a very real way. Yeah. But yeah, they tend to try to talk dark, and that's why I'm able to tell them apart because clients don't speak that way. Hmm. Yeah. So that's why I like, why did you go all professional like that? Like, aren't you, but you're like, feel like a friend. Yeah, that's because they were playing around. So I'm like, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect with my guides. And then before the cue that call to action, you're going to leave, you're going to walk away from this reading. You're going to leave. You're not going to hang out with me. And yeah, you're going to have your answer. So, then you may start, so it's like, creating a awkwardness is also not my cup of tea. Like, yeah, like, what we just do, laugh at the same time. No. Oh boy. Anyway, so all of that. I had to be mean this a little bit, but not too much. I didn't do too much. Did I? Did I do too much? No, I didn't do too much. Period. Okay. Uh, yeah. So I am definitely in a good way. It's a great day, spiritually, energetically, psychically. It's a good day. Hmm. Um. Yeah. All right. So, um, we are about one. Well, there's like an hour and 10 minutes, so that's a good thing. So 1 hour, 10 minutes to go. We're just gonna just hang out, do the readings, get people on our side. How well am I still doing? I'm doing quite well. My numbers are still in the green. I'm doing superb. One difference. What's going on with you? What's going on? What's going on is the fact that You see, I'm in a weird space. You know how like when you finally discover the secrets of your life, so you have found the mysteries of your puzzle, how the world is like, I noticed that my best friend kind of like dipped out on me when they discovered like I finally figured it out, like how to propel myself forward. So like ever since my channel is starting to move in the direction more into this independence, even without me saying, "Oh yes, my channel takes off, I'm gonna like leave every." No, I'm not going to leave anything. But it's like I noticed that as things started unlocking for me for the first time, um, but I'm very much aware that it's like people kind of it gives me that feeling like when I'm speaking to people, and they say, well, like, why would I hire them and, to make them independent or to help them, go a different direction? In other words, like, they're there for me. So it's like, I don't want to see, I don't really care to see, not that I, don't want them to have a great life. I'm like, oh boy. So yeah, that's kind of like a situation that I'm in. It's like even if I'm saying no, it's not. I'm just oh, I gotta take this. Have a chat situation. Andrea, hello. Mm-hmm. It says, please help. Of course. Okay. Um, love is coming. Love is coming. Her name is Tiana, but I call her Sunny. Mm-hmm. If that makes sense. My goodness. This is so wild. You're in the middle of an intense reading. She doesn't want um mm-hmm. La 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 la. Oh, oh, oh. Timeline. Okay, I'm coming. This is just complex. The complexity. Oops. Which is my gosh. I had to chat my answers. I had to put my face in the camera. You saw all the galaxies. Hmm. Okay. Hmm. It's a good day. Yeah, doing this work in the morning better, much better. Yeah, get up. You need a reading. Be serious. Get on the line. In the evening, yeah. I, like here I am in the evening. You're like, gonna take your chances. So I said, you know what? I'm, you know, I'm kicking them off my evenings. I'm like wanting my evenings hanging out, watching binging on my shows. Yeah, I don't like, yeah, in the morning, do your business. Then you could do your devilment. And you would have already talked to me. Yeah, put me in the daylight, then you have to think of me like thinking cloud, and you're trying to smooch. I mean, you're thinking cloud. So I said, yeah, like in the morning, then they can compute it, do some work, go to the gym, go have lunch, you know, get to the evening, get ready, go out, enjoy the weekend. My goodness, what are they going to talk about today? Okay, so people are talking about gambling. Um, Andre, that was a nice person, nice fella. Probably need to write him, like let him know. I think he's about to be surprised, pleasantly surprised. There's a woman who's kind of testing him. It's good that the men have a different conversation. So he's with a woman, um, had a baby. He thinks that is his, she won't go get tested. He's proposed that they marry. It sounds like if you run that all together, it sounds like if the baby's mine, you get tested, the baby's mine, I marry you. But she won't go get tested. She's not sure if the baby is who the baby father is. But I think he's like, but he thinks it's his. He says, but she's okay with just being friends. So she's trying to, I think, oh, well, according to the reading, she's like, I want to, first of all, I want you to, like she says, she wants him to marry her because he wants to. Number one, she's like, we're friends. The baby always here. The baby good, but like you know, even if you are the father, you marrying her because you want to. Marrying her, you try to marry for like the baby because you're the baby, the father. No, mm-mm. She said, I don't need that. We can just be friends. You know, so it sounds like they also get along really well. But she is in love with him, but she is testing him. And he's starting to realize that she's actually testing him to see like the intentions of why he wants to marry her. Because it's because she has a baby and he marries her, or she agrees to marry him. That doesn't mean they're gonna have all of a sudden they're gonna have a wonderful life when they had a really nice friendship already, and now they're in a bad relationship because the intentions were all off of reasoning to consummate their relationship, marriage. And so thereby now forever their friendship is different now, it's affected. um, so he's there's it wasn't much time to explain to him in a chat reading that friendship is also necessary because people do like, okay, first of all, if you're intimately attracted to the person and you actually start loving the person, because you did you know you can love a friend, and I mean to talk about dynamics of men and women, but if you can find yourself in this, you're welcome to. But okay, so he can uh, love her as a friend. I'm not talking about not even as a sister, like a sister brother type spiritual or psychic brother, but I mean like actually love her as a friend. You can have love for a friend. You mean like friendly love, like love me as like the friend, but never you don't like talk about them intimately, like sleeps. No, no. We're friends. I love them to pieces. They're always checking in. Our conversation is always productive. They're so anal about seafood, so we always have to like every time they call, I immediately turn back around. It's like, so where we going? We're going to that same steak and fry joint. And so I always know where you want to go, and they have a good time. But then they go their separate ways. But not the bed. No, no. But then there's friends where you love the person and you've fallen in love with them as friends. So you're already intimate and in love with each other. You're already doing the things, but the friendship is that added feature that say, wow, like I really enjoy hanging out with the person that like, okay, they're intimate with each other. They're connected. There's a deeper sense of connection of what being lovers even mean. So then when they start to say, I think that I enjoy this, or I can get used to this. I consider you to be a cornerstone in each other's lives. Then they're saying, you know, I fell in love with you and like always present, always around. Now they're living together. Now they're saying, would you mind like being with this every day in the morning? Looking at me at breakfast. It's like, I was hoping you'd bring that up, and now they want to marry. They marry, bringing the children together and telling them, hey, how do you feel about being a whole family, or, like having children of their own, spending the house themselves. And it's like, and marriage. By the way, this is the year of marriage, by the way. So I did get that part in, like, hey, definitely gonna feel it, but 2026, like I told him to talk about it in September. Again, bring it up again in September. I brought it up twice, so I couldn't miss it. And then I wrote, but really talk about marriage in 2026, because that's when she's gonna be like, if you really want this, you really want to do this, that when she's gonna say that, 2026. So I think we'll have, another set. We have another set of a couple who's, you know, um, they found their betrothed, they found their one. So yeah. Oh yeah, this year is also about, of course, meeting your life partners, companions, and twin flames, and karmic soulmates becoming twin flames. Shocker. First time I saw that with my own eyes this year. I knew it was possible, but I never read anyone. Usually it was back when it was toxic. I'm not even going to give the year. I'm trying to train myself, traumatic. But you know when. Everybody knows when. If I said, you'd be like, yep. Yeah, I remember. I'm not even going to mention it. I'm trying to let it go. But yes, karmic, because usually karmic someone's, yeah, oh, they could if they just, I know they could if they wanted to, it would take a lot, you be the two of you up against the world, but now, and this year, they're doing exactly that, exactly what we always, how we would address those karmic soulmates. Like, if it's so powerful, we so magnetic, why did universe bring this together? Just so we can learn a lesson? Shoot, the universe could just told me because I'm obedient. And it's like, yeah, all of that. So, but this year is like, there's like karmic soulmates that now are like, shoot, I can stand with you, like us against the world, and us saying, well, we go, let's say we go marry, we allow other the family members to come and participate if they behave, you know like, in spite of what your parents are saying, I'm honestly not marrying your parents or your siblings or anyone else. In fact, I think they'll grow to like me. And like, first of all, you can't stop calling me. Like, you call me all throughout the day. We speak three. How are you not gonna say, well, I love her or I love him, so we're gonna try this anyway, even though he's dad and mom. I know he's a different culture, but you know, when we have a house and we're mimicking like how great your lives have become, and we're doing the same thing, I think you'll appreciate him. Us as a couple. I'm sure of it. And then she marries him, and they do exactly that, and they're like, it may take a while, may take maybe 1 or 2 years before dad would even step foot in the house. He's like, I just gonna stay out of it, and catch you if you need, like what happened. But then 2 years go by, everything is nice, little bun in the oven. Now everybody want, well, you know, you can't keep a grandbaby away from they're like, oh, now all of a sudden you want to hang out with us, and we asked you to come over, but we just want to give you two privacy, and no, you trying to see how it all pans out to see if you were going to be right or not, if we would fall flat on our faces, and we made it. And now we have a grandbaby, and we got a nice house. You want to visit? We've been asking you to visit our new home, because it's like explaining that one. There's people who their banter is, yeah, they're not gonna do this. They're not gonna. Oh, he's not gonna hold up. I know a young man when I was a young man, I was already making that amount of money. And then they get the house. Then now they're like, they get jealous. Like, and I'm talking about parents, by the way. They get a little jealous. They like, what happened to their foresight? They're like, wait a minute, wait, what? who afforded you that house? We just worked really hard for the house. We worked hard. We worked. We have a job. Oh, so your parents didn't like lend you the money? Okay, the money was lent. It's like, I mean, what you talking about the banks? No, I mean your like did your like you know it's like, well, what is that? Well, they paid for the wedding. Did they pay for the wedding? It's like, well, if you would have, you could have paid for the wedding. You could have come to the wedding, in fact, So yeah, a lot of those conversations happened. Oh gosh, and trying to work with people to heal in those regards. Oh my goodness, especially when it's multicultural. Oh gosh, when it's cultures, two different cultures, like religions are coming together, essentially, especially that. Even when the like when let's say wives contacting, right, and they're of a different race, even it's more difficult in my reading so far. It's less difficult when it's of races, nationality. It's been more difficult when it's like because of religions. Was this the toughest? The ones where the parents are like, they're not coming to the wedding, they're not paying for the wedding, and they're not going to bless your house, type of stuff. Re- religious differences, especially there in my readings, at least. And there may be many reasons, why those why I'm not privy to the other sides of those other conversations, because I mean, after all, I mean, they my pick is on there, so maybe they're very cautious, but the ladies do share with me, like maneuvering things, so to speak, and I hope to offer some guidance wherever I'm needed, and only where I'm needed. You know, but for the most part, it's always optically looks so beautiful. It looks like do what the wife's supposed to do. She comes in and makes would be their son's life 13 times better, right? And like picking up the little brother, and the brother likes to hang out with her, things like cool stuff, like like hang out, like show up with, turn up, where the mom is at in their nice vehicle, and they get out and they're like literally in their lives, right? In addition to their lives, in addition, you know, um, you know, spent some time, like with her hubby's sister, and my mom is like, who do you think you are? Like, it was like, I'm here in the fest. So there's some beautiful optic moments that I think are missed in Hollywood shows. Like the real is better. The real stories are much better. The writers, I don't. Well, what goes on. Like I like that story. Now you had a little comedy to that. I might actually sit down and watch a romantic comedy if it's written like the way I'm talking about it. That could be very funny, and real stuff. But the other one is always so toxic. It's like they only record the toxic stuff. It's like a whole line full of toxic for like indulgence of that for over 2 hours. So it's like, oh boy, no way. I'm not eating any more of that. I don't think other people must agree, because yeah, that all those things aren't, isn't it tanking? And they've had to like, like make concessions. It sounds like they're making concessions, so I think they're getting better. I've been finding some really great shows. You've heard of my binging, so I'm watching some really nice shows that are romantic comedy. I mean, there's of course, like life, there is some toxic elements that adds to the realistic aspects to it, but it's for the most part, it's entertaining and it's not overboard. Like it's not like toxic and then beat it to beating the dead horse. So it's like, yeah. Yeah. So they don't do that. Like they do like a splash. It's like, yeah, I caught it. And but then it's storylines like, but that's not what this is about. or they don't make it, they don't turn like that's but that only takes what, like 3 seconds to like, okay, we got the point. So they're not stretching it out for like 5 minutes. Oh, by the way, another thing I want to pick at y'all. So they have another historical period show. They'll get, what's already predicted. The prediction is the show will be released. They'll get their Grammy. The whole cast will get the Grammy, and then you'll never hear from the actors ever again. You'll every now and when they'll pop up in one thing or two, but you'll never see them again. You'll get the one Grammy. They'll never get another one, and it's like ritual. It's like ritualistic, historic, like period type uh, show. So anyway, I want to congratulate you early to your Grammy that you're gonna get. You're gonna get the Grammy. You're gonna do the period piece, and everybody will get the Grammy. Everybody, the cast, everybody gonna get the Grammy. But that'll be the last Grammy that you'll ever see. But you'll always be remembered for that show. Okay, there you go. Good for you. Okay, so on to lighter things. Uh, Loaded things, loaded information. You gotta just kind of just like look into it. Golly, look up that leaped up fast. All those views. Wow. Hmm. Like, what were you all doing? Like, what were you all doing in here? Wow. 73 views? Like, what's going on? Okay, so, anyways, uh, it's good that the men are definitely seem to be wiser. That's good. So men are wiser. They're like, um, you know, okay, considering that they would be together beyond 2 years, over the past 14 months ago, had the baby. He considers the baby, I believe he wants to consider the baby to be his. He thinks it's his. She won't tell him if the baby is his or no. And he's contemplating marrying. They have a nice friendship. That's good that they have a good friendship. And I definitely am sending them good vibes. I want them to do it right. I want them to be the couple that beats the odds, like the storyline, not odds, excuse me, scratch odds specifically to get down to it. I want them to defeat the storyline, the narrative. I want them to just wipe out that storyline that they, she's with baby. She don't know who the daddy is, and he don't know if he is. She step out on him. He won't marry her because she told him that he was the dad, and so he looked into it. Now he don't want to marry her because she lied. So I'm so happy that they're like there's like it has evolved. The conversation has transcended into something pleasant. It's like, first of all, she did what women do, have a baby. Um, she just said, all right, I don't know who the father is, but I know that now. I know that because she told me, but I think the baby is mine, because that means they was fooling. They were doing something together. They don't know what to call it, but they said, but she just said she doesn't know if I'm the one that is the father. It'd be nice if to hear that on his side because he wants to marry her, and she's saying that she wants to maintain the friendship. But actually, she said that to him. But we know that she wants to fall in love with him, and he to fall in love with her, and that he wants to marry her, not to marry her because she had a child, a baby, or even his baby. Like, don't marry her just because she had your baby, or that you found out you're a father, or potentially you're a father. She like marry her because you want to marry and be with her. Because this day and age, he doesn't if they're not gonna get on well together as a married couple, and they're better off as friends, even though he's the father of the child. It's like better to keep the friendship. Like I wish we would have just kept the friendship, not married, and just kept it as it was, and you could just be fantastic and help do what you could do with the baby, help out with the baby, and that would have been far greater than us having married and now we tore up from the flow up. So and now I don't know if we can even go back to being friends. So it's like, as it sounds so more smart, the way that this couple seem to be moving. I wonder if this is a thing, like, is this universal? Because it's quite very, very upgraded conversation. I love it. I love it. And it's like, kind of like to myself, note to myself, stay off the internet. Stop reading and looking into things only on the internet. Like, get some perspectives. So good to hear a different side, of the. He did. Oh, by the way, when I channeled him, he didn't, know, he didn't, give me a heartburn, reading him. It did feel like I was like trying to spit fire, from my throat wasn't burning, so to speak, like or like trying to speak in reverse. So I'm trying to project, but I'm it's like sounds being injected instead of projected, and it's like burning sensation. I'm like, none of that, like toxic energy, none breathing in toxicity. This person sound very pleasant, very much in love with the idea, and also the idea of being a dad, a father. So yeah, but she just keeps saying, "No, it's okay. You don't have to do that. You already know I'm here. We're friends. We talk a lot." They've been talking a lot for the past months. Just really being heavily in communication, like 8 months. So it's kind of becoming steady between the two of them, between both of them. I told him when to ask about, because he's been proposing to her that they marry. I told him when, September. I told him twice, and um, and especially like map out marriage for 2026. But this year is actually the year of marriage, the year of relationship. So favorable time. Also, I think the two of them are special, are meant to be in each other's lives. They're meant to, for sure. That's why it's working out so smoothly. But there's another one interesting path, is that the toxic block, or people who are usually in the middle of the road, they're out of the way. They're off the side of the road. So it's a very clear path to the one that you connect with, the love of your, well, usually when I explain this, I'm referring to soul tribes who you're approaching and they're approaching you. But that also includes soul mates, because when people are on this journey, often along the journey, they become single. So they're looking. So sometimes I can see where, yeah, from out of this group, or when you arrive in this group, your love is going to reveal themselves. So, yeah, I believe these two today have already revealed to themselves to each other. And of course, I'm hoping that, they do well, and everything that is meant to go their way, that it happens. I hope they have their way. So, yeah, I told you I know what's going on. I know. I know those complicated things. People want me to pretend like I don't know these conversations exist. That's why it's important to have these types of conversations on the internet, because that's what people don't want. They want you to be out of the conversation and then they want to surprise attack you with it. All of a sudden, you're love bombed, and it's like, if I only would have known. Oh. But now it's like internet defeats them all, and the internet wins again. They have the conversations, like, come in, get this good news, get this important conversation. You hear it, you're listening, like, oh, that's what that is. Oh, they do that in real life. It's like that. Oh, wow. And yeah. Oh yeah, oh, they troll in life. Oh my gosh! So not for fake, but for real, like harm you, your energy. Wow, troll you out of checks for nearly the rest of, like, a huge part of your life, man. Yeah, they will try. Oh yeah, I don't want that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, people know now. People know what gaslighting is now. Yeah. Oh yeah, we said we're gonna pick up with isolation. So yeah, people try to get you feeling isolated, like you the only one. And then what happened? We know what happened. They try to abuse the relationship in some way. There's more than one type of abuse, but they tried to they start attempting to do that, execute that in your life. So it's very healthy, to find the family within. Ooh, that's a great title. Hold on. The family within. Let me write that down. That's gonna be a good title. Not your external earth, but your family within. Don't let them isolate you from the family within. Mm-mm. Don't let them get away with that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the family within allows you to always have a connection. You're not alone, you know, and you're getting good energy, good vibes, and it also helps you to within reason, stay connected with external family, external friends. Hmm. Yeah, um, the friends within, even the friends within ourselves. Like, you gotta be your best friend. Become your best friend. Also, that way, when you meet people and you know that your inner friend, your inner family, the family within, gonna look after you. So somebody else comes along and they're not quite behaving as someone who is the qualities of the friends and family within. Now that's different from the enemy within. We're saying friends and family within specifically, not enemy within. But the family, the friends within yourself, you know, they're gonna look after you, so that if when other people don't, it's not just about you recognizing it, but that that you're not intentionally looking after things that are unhealthy, and kind of like maintaining those things. Like when they say somebody who grows a garden, but they might be allergic. People are allergic to the wildest things. Like they may be like, okay, if you're allergic to tomatoes and you start a garden, why are you planting tomatoes in your garden? Like, let somebody else do that. Or like, well, I have family members and I wear gloves and all that, but I have family members, but okay, you have a nut allergy, but here you are. You didn't got a house where you may have, I don't know if pecans count, but you have trees that produce, let's say, some like nuts that you are allergic to. So, so something to that, like, wait a minute, why would you be doing any of that? Why are you nurturing something that is unhealthy for you, even in relationships? You wouldn't. So it's not that you're intentionally doing it. But we find ourselves doing these things. So once we unmask that, then we start to say, I know what, like what type of individuals, uh, family, friends that I'm meant to pull in. I'm meant to pull them in because there is an enemy within, and actually, your people who are masked to be somebody who say that, oh gosh, feel like they feel like they're your family, or that they're your soulmate. They feel like they're your friends, but actually they're friends with your enemy inside, and the enemy within you. That's who they are in common with. As they say, the worst. Well, I love you very dearly, but you are the worst parts of me. So, and like as you perfect and you grow, and then when you try to perfect and grow in these benefiting parts of self, it gets toxic. It gets worse. It gets toxic all of a sudden. It gets abusive all of a sudden. So yeah, people will become friends with the enemy parts of that's inside of you, which we all have. We all have those parts. So yeah, you have to even protect your vices from people. Like your vice actually isn't for everybody. Like, yeah, there are different fruits, right? Some vegetations can be spicy. It could be sour. There's different textures, flavors, tastes, of all kinds, right? Salty, sweet. But then somebody is constantly wanting to connect with the sides of you that is like, wait a minute. They're connecting to something that is uh, maybe not my favorite parts, favorite flavor, taste, whatever. And you have to think about that. You have to say that, like, you're enhancing the worst aspects of self, and that's the part that you raise up. As in, there might be a part of you that always abandons your plans. That's the only part they're in love with. They say, well, how about I raise up my part of me that loves to fulfill all the plans. I reschedule for you, and then you can connect with me, and then you'll have me for the weekend. And they tell you, they figure a way to get out of that, or I don't have enough time, or I can't do the entire week. I can't do 3 days like we said we're gonna do. Do one day. They plan for the trip, then they cancel the trip, but then want you to, like, well, if it's important for you to for us to speak about this Monday morning, first day meeting, would be first day back from your 3 day trip. So so now they're like, you already take, you had 3 days spent. Maybe you went to work, maybe you went on to work, but you got that Monday. That Monday is important. It was already scheduled, either whether you're going to the trip or not. But that's the day they want you. That's your enemy within you that say, well, I already took 3. I mean, that meeting is important, but I can get out of it. That's your enemy within. That's your enemy's part of yourself communicating to you. You need to skip, get out of that Monday meeting. That person, is connected with your enemy, with the more common with the enemy inside you, rather than saying, I'm sticking to my schedule. I've got a meeting. Going to the meeting, I told you that. Had you taken the 3 day trip with us, that I, while you got out of it, I don't even want to know. What did you do for those past 2 days? Well, that's what we're going to meet on Monday to talk about. Why can it not be in the evening Tuesday? Why can it not be in the evening? Well, it has to be between these hours because I'm gonna be out of action. Be out of town. I mean, I go, well, you just like your time is important to you, my time's important to me. It's like, well, you're being difficult about this. Obviously, talking to you isn't making any sense to you right now. It's like toxic, back and forth. Enemies. Enemy within is common with your enemy outside, and vice versa. Your enemy outside common with your enemy within. Yeah. So you have to think about those things because when that's the thing about knowing these deeper secrets, these deeper psychic secrets, is that yeah, people like I imagine like they invent a game for you to play, and they're like, oh my gosh, I worked so hard on this game, and you're gonna love it because I'm gonna love it. It's gonna be so much fun, and I'm gonna run it. I'm gonna run the game, and we're gonna have a game night. And you just don't play. You're like, nah, I can't be a part of it. Can't play. So you don't participate. And yeah, that wrecks that person's their energetically, their motivation. Yeah, they become disparaged and things like that. Like, what do you mean you don't want to play? You don't want out of the conversation. You don't want to participate. What are you talking about? Like, who does that? Everybody participates. Like, whether you're so different or why not? So then, yeah, so yeah, it just gets weird. Like, when you start really going into these things psychically, metaphysically, you start to find the symbols that means something. That person, who really like waiting for their time when you're gonna agree to go on that date with them, and they're like, whenever you choose, when you have an open time, you let me know. My schedule is, I can make it happen. I can move things around, and I'll take you out to dinner, or I'll take you out to have a great time. Platon as friends, and if something happens, then we take it from there, and you keep putting it off, putting it off, putting it off, because you're you're in operation with yourself, and but of course that's been projected to the great screen monitor of your mind externally, external influences. Oh my gosh. Mm. Anyways, oh, I shall be right back. Give me a second, please. Okay, I'm back. I'm back. So I have like, okay, 13 more minutes to go. This is the morning part. Uh, okay, so my work hours is a little crazy right now. Like, so I've been coming on here at from 7 to 10, but I'm still working from 10 to today 3 to 3 p.m. Technically, I like to go live at from 10 to 3. It hasn't worked out quite like that. So I don't know what that's about. And then yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to do with that right now. Okay. But before I was going live like from like 7 or 6 o'clock or something like that till like I think 9, and then I'll come back at 10 and from to like 3. So something has changed. Like I've stopped, and what I'm saying is I've stopped going live. At least I've not been active for a couple of days, from like 10 to 3. That might change. Maybe it's just a matter of taking a bit of a break. I think that's what I'm missing. Because before, I at least had an hour in between. So I think I'm missing something with this. Anyways, hopefully I'll get it together and figure it out. And then we can go from there. Oh my goodness. But yeah, I've had some pretty crazy conversations today. So it was pretty wild. We went into some deeper areas, and you're probably thinking, first of all, like maybe how dare you, but I don't know. I don't know how your thoughts on these things. But yeah, we went into some very specific locations, things that I saw psychically in the spirit that I just thought I would, bring to one's awareness as psychics tend to do. Um, it's nothing. It's not a. But it's not a, what do you call it? It's not threatening, because it's not like, it's not warning, or it's not orange. It's not prophetic. It's nothing prophetic yet. It's just more like psychic stuff, like just awareness things. Like, oh, like by the way, we're kind of taking notice. So let's just make this a little neater. We can tighten this up. Different approach. So yeah, so it's not a big deal. Don't take it as such. Um, just an observation. So I have 10 minutes, no 9 minutes now. I'm gonna go ahead and complete. Yeah, I definitely can complete this day, and just keep going. I think it's gonna be from. Okay, so I do think it's gonna be an amazing. Um, it was obviously an amazing day, but like this upcoming week, I think is something to keep an eye open for. I'm very interested in what these next readings are gonna be like. Um, Pretty much, it seems like people are very busy. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I keep forgetting. Um, this is where they want to be busy. That everybody's they're mapping out October, November, December, in the new year, because it's like only a few months to go with that. Okay, okay. I kind of lost track of my readings. That's what people or the insights that I was getting last week. I was like, oh yeah, Bill. People are getting ready for making out their plans for these last 3 months. But uh, September has seemed to be very important regarding relationships. Well, obviously, October is like call to action. But September, you know, is definitely like relationships are pretty solid at that time. I can't imagine one like saying, I can't find anybody. Like if a person in this time, I've already agreed, I'm like, there is no, I don't believe in that. It's no such thing as a person forced to be alone. I don't believe that. I believe I believe all that is still like Maya, like illusion was the word, the term, like incel, like somebody who is like intimately forced out of community. I don't believe that. I believe that um, people just don't make room for relationships. That's what I think. I'm not saying that there's no such thing as lonely people, but I think that what I find in my readings that like people will call me, right? They'll talk about how lonely they are. They talk about wanting to like hang out with, like go to a baseball game with somebody when the person, the other person they want to hang out with doesn't even like baseball, doesn't even like sports, and you know, so it's like they're being ridiculous. I'm like, you're just being ridiculous. You don't want to necessarily be in a relationship, so to speak. You just kind of want to just do things. You just kind of just want to like be around, hang out, but like find like socially have friendship. But when it comes to companion, then by the end of the reading, they then come to find out that there's been a lovely human being has been chasing them for months now, and they've been turning them down. And I'm like, see, but it takes them all the entire 30 minutes and 45 minutes, an hour to get to the issue. Like, well, there's somebody, by the way, there's somebody been that's kind of like pursuing me for months now, but I won't, I never take them up on it. Or I never, like, she's invited me out so many times. I'm like, you just want to be alone. You're not alone. You might experience loneliness, but you're not forced to be alone. That's unheard of. Like I like to be like let alone. I can't even be left alone. I can't be people don't even leave me alone. So I cannot believe that other people are forced to be alone. Like I try to enforce solitude and it's impossible. They they gonna bother me anyway. I can't go out and like find a little sweet spot and sit there because next thing I know, somebody gonna come up over there with and be around. There's no way I can be alone. And I don't believe that people just outright like community like like they didn't booted you out, you know, from one moon to the next. You marked with a bear claw and you can't come back until 7 new moons later. You can't come back to the next full moon. Out. Out. The door, sir. The door. pack your shit and get out. Oh gosh, unheard of. Should somebody say, pack your shit and get out? I'd be like, be like, I'd be like praising. Be like, no, they're like, instead, it's opposite. Hmm. They're like, I'm here for you. I'm here to put. I'm here for you. I'm here to brighten up your day. I'm like, well, that's just what. Well, clear sky. There's the sun. From where I stand, it's sunny outside. Like, we're gonna be here. We here. And so you need something. You come here. It's like they didn't get it. I said it's clear outside. It's sunny. From where I stand, it's sunny outside. I didn't, like nobody understands even Fred Astaire. Fred Astaire doesn't even make sense anymore. That was so funny. Okay. Well, so anyways, I guess we'll just have to hang out. That is so funny. Oh my gosh. Oh man. All right. Uh okay. I'm gonna take a slight little break and I'm gonna get over it and I hope you all continue to have an amazing day. Mhm.